Next, let's look at the rice and the lo mein section. Rice and lo mein are bundled together into one category because both of these are carbohydrates. In other words, they're the staple food of Chinese cuisine. On the top here is always the rice section. The middle here is white rice and brown rice. And then it's followed by the lo mein noodles. The way that these dishes are arranged is always the same. It always goes as follows: plain first, and then vegetable, and then pork, and then chicken, and then beef, and then shrimp, and then lobster, and then yanqiao or house special. Notice how for lo mein it's also the same. So the arrangement goes roughly in the order of increasing price. Plain is the cheapest, vegetable, pork and chicken generally about the same price, and then beef, shrimp, and so on. Alright, let's first talk about the rice section. Fried rice. Before we start, let's have you watch a video for how fried rice is made at a Chinese restaurant.
Today we're going to make yellow fried rice, more specifically in this case pork fried rice, but you can use any meats, seafood, and or vegetables you have available. In a bowl, add in 1 teaspoon of sugar, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1.5 teaspoon of chicken powder, 1/6 teaspoon of white pepper, and mix the ingredients together. Now let's prepare the rice. 2 cups or 400 grams of long grain rice. Wash and rinse a couple of times to remove any impurities and talc powder if any. Let's cook the rice. Make sure to use a thick bottomed pot when cooking on the stove top. Add in 600 milliliters or 2.54 cups of water. Add in the seasoning mixture, 2 tablespoons of oil, and 1/4 teaspoon of yellow egg shade. This is completely optional. Stir and cover with lid. Bring to a boil, then lower the heat to the lowest setting. Cook for about 15 to 20 minutes or until all the water are absorbed by the rice. Then turn off the heat and let it steam for about 10 to 15 minutes with the lid on. Do not open the lid. Use a fork to fluff the rice and transfer it to a large pan for cooling. Let the rice cool down to room temperature. Once cooled to room temperature, refrigerate the rice for next day use. Let's combine the ingredients to make pork fried rice. You need onion, dice, roast pork or chashu pork, dice. Now let's make the fried rice. Heat wok to smoking hot to prevent it from sticking. Add in 2 tablespoons of oil and diced onions. Saute the onions just before they are translucent. Add in the roast pork or the chashu pork or any ingredients you have available. Since the pork is already pre-cooked, just saute it for about a minute or until it's warm. Next, add in the fried rice and cook over medium-high heat until the rice is hot. Make sure to continuously move the fried rice around to ensure even cooking. Add in 1 to 2 tablespoons or 1 sprig of green onions, green part only. 2 tablespoons of water. During the cooking process, the fried rice will dry up, hence the water is added to moisten the rice. No additional seasoning is required as this rice is already flavored, which makes this fried rice easy to make and consistent in taste every time you make it.
Now that you've seen the video, it's easy to explain what fried rice is. Plain fried rice is just yellow rice with no vegetable and no meat. Vegetable fried rice is just fried rice with some vegetable. Some common vegetables that they put in are broccoli, bean sprout, carrot, peas, mushroom, scallion, and maybe sometimes they put other things, but that's generally about it. Pork fried rice is basically yellow rice with bean sprouts, scallion, onions, and pork slices. The video that you saw before is pork fried rice. Chicken fried rice is the same as pork fried rice, except instead of pork, you have chicken. Beef fried rice goes by the same logic. Same thing for shrimp and lobster. The last thing that's a little tricky is yanqiao fried rice. Yanqiao fried rice in this case is just the same as house special fried rice. Remember the house special soup? If you do, then you can guess that Yanqiao fried rice or house special fried rice is basically onions, bean sprouts, scallion, and that's right, chicken, pork, and shrimp. Some restaurants call this house special fried rice. In the middle here, we have white rice. Every single Chinese restaurant will have white rice. They do not have brown rice, and therefore that's grayed out. Next, let's talk about the lo mein. Again, before we start talking about it, let's have you watch a video.
I'm going to show you how to make vegetable lo mein today. Of course, you can add shrimp, beef, chicken, roast pork, basically any kind of meat you like. You can also add eggs in there, which tastes very good. So the first ingredients of course you'll need is lo mein noodles. Lo mein noodles are usually made out of wheat flour, cornstarch, water, and eggs. In a pot of boiling water, add a pinch of salt and then add in the noodles. Cook it at medium-high heat. Make sure to occasionally stir it. Cook for about 8 to 9 minutes. After about 8 to 9 minutes of cooking, take the noodles out and cool it in running water or ice water. This stops the noodles from cooking any further. Next, put in 1 tablespoon vegetable oil. Thoroughly mix it. The oil prevents it from sticking together. While that's done, let's prepare the sauce. First thing you'll need is 2 green onion roots, minced. You should have about 1 tablespoon minced green onions. Next, peel the ginger skin off using the back of a spoon or knife. Mince about 1 tablespoon of ginger.
Transfer the minced green onion and the ginger into the bowl. Next, add 8 teaspoons of soy sauce, 6 teaspoons of sugar, 1 teaspoon of dark mushroom flavored soy sauce, 6 teaspoons of cooking wine, 5 teaspoons of oyster sauce, 1 teaspoon of sesame oil, a little bit of white pepper or a couple dashes, Next, let's prepare the vegetables. You can use any vegetables you like, just make sure they're julienne strips. And the amount of vegetable is up to you, but I recommend a 3:1 ratio of a lo mein to vegetables. Here are the vegetables that I am going to use. I have some napa, bean sprout, bamboo shoots, and the julienne, carrot, and celery that we cut before. Next, in a pot of boiling water, put in the lo mein noodles. Cook for about 10 to 15 seconds, then remove it. Turn your burner to high. You want your wok or pan to be very hot. The heat will prevent the noodles from sticking. It also reduces the cooking time for the noodles. Put in some vegetable oil and coat your wok or pan. Remove the excess oil, but leave about 1 tablespoon of oil in there. Add in 1 tablespoon of minced garlic with fire off. Then add your julienne strip vegetables and turn the fire on to high. Cook the vegetables for about 20 to 30 seconds. After 20 to 30 seconds, add in your noodles. Make sure the noodles are still wet and not dry. Add in about 4 to 5 tablespoons of the sauce and mix. Make sure to spread the sauce around, don't pour it in one spot. Now continue to cook for 20 seconds or so. Now we're going to start the plating process. Look at the color. You want some?
Now that you've seen the video, let's go into each one. Just like the fried rice, plain lo mein is just a noodle. The vegetable lo mein has some vegetable ingredients. Pork lo mein has pork in addition to Chinese cabbage, onions, carrots, celery, bean sprouts, and scallion. Chicken lo mein, again, instead of pork you have chicken. The same logic goes here. Now ask yourself, what does house special lo mein have? If you say chicken, shrimp, and pork, and some other vegetable dishes, then you are right. Alright, so that wraps up the rice and the lo mein section. Right next to the rice and lo mein category, you will find the mei fun, ho fun, and pan fried noodle category. So for Great Wall, they only have mei fun. They do not have ho fun or pan fried noodles. Therefore, all you see here are the mei fun dishes. Mei fun is also known as chow mai fun. They're basically the same thing. What mei fun is skinny rice noodle, also known as angel hair noodle. Before we start, let's have you watch a video.
So today we're going to make pork mei fun, also known as thin rice noodles. Of course, you don't have to use pork. You can use either chicken, beef, shrimp, crab meat, and so on. If you want to make Singapore mei fun, you can combine all the meat and the seafood ingredients that I mentioned earlier and add in curry powder. That's it. Let's get started. Here I have 150 grams or 5.3 ounce of thin rice noodles. Pour in warm water. It'll take 5 to 8 minutes to soften. Cut 50 grams or 1.76 ounce of napa into strips. Cut 100 grams or 3.5 ounce of cabbage into strips. Cut 50 grams or 1.76 ounce of onion into strips. Cut 1 celery in half, also cut it into strips. Cut 50 grams or 1.76 ounce of carrot into strips as well. Cut 1 spring onion. Cut the white green parts into halves and or quarters if it's thick. Separate the greenish white part from the green parts. Additional vegetables that I've included: 30 grams or 1 ounce of bean sprouts and 15 grams or 0.5 ounce of bamboo shoot strips. Now let's cut the meat. To this, add in half a teaspoon of salt, 1/8 teaspoon or a sprinkle of white pepper, 1/6 teaspoon or a couple sprinkle of garlic powder, 1 tablespoon water, 2 teaspoons of Shaoxing rice wine, and mix. Then add in 2 teaspoons of cornstarch and mix until you do not see any cornstarch powder. Then add in 1 teaspoon of vegetable oil and mix until there is no oil left. Crack 2 eggs, and as always, so let's start cooking. In a large pan or wok, turn your fire to medium-high. Heat your pan or wok till it's hot, then add in 1 to 1.5 tablespoons of vegetable oil. Add in the beaten egg. Cook until the egg just becomes solid. Take the eggs out and set it aside. This time, heat your wok or pan till it's smoking hot. Then add in 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil. Add in the marinated pork and stir fry until it's partially cooked. It should take about 20 to 30 seconds. Once the pork is partially cooked, add in 1 tablespoon of minced garlic. Next, add in the onion and the cabbage. Stir fry for about 30 seconds. After 30 seconds, add in the carrot, celery, bamboo shoot strips, bean sprouts, napa, and the white green parts of the spring onion. Continue to stir fry for about 30 seconds or so. Add in the mei fun rice noodles and the green parts of the spring onion. Add in 1 tablespoon of Shaoxing rice wine, 3/4 teaspoon of salt, 3/4 teaspoon of sugar, 1/6 teaspoon white pepper, 2 teaspoons of fish sauce. Continue to stir fry for about 30 seconds. Break the cooked egg apart and add it in. Toss the rice noodles for about 30 more seconds. It's done. This serves about 2 to 3 people. but I could finish this by myself if I'm really hungry. Now I really sound like a pig. I almost forgot to mention that in Singapore Mei Fan, chilies or sriracha is added to make it spicy. If you add sriracha to this baby, it will rock your world.
Alright, great. Now that you've seen the video, you see that it's very similar to lo mein, but basically it's a different kind of noodle. It's much skinnier and it's made from rice. Just like the rice in the lo mein, you have vegetable chow mein fan, you have your roast pork, your chicken, beef, shrimp, house special, and Singapore. I think the video already explained what Singapore rice noodle is. Let's see a picture for a Singapore rice noodle. Now, be careful with the Mai Fan dishes. A lot of customers get that confused with lo mein or chow mein here on the bottom, which we will talk about later. So basically, when a customer wants to order Mai Fan, you want to ask. So just want to make sure that's the skinny rice noodle that you want, right? And make sure the customer says yes. Or what I generally like to do is I ask, so I want to make sure that's the rice noodle that you want, right? Not the lo mein noodle. And the customer, if they said it wrong, they will correct you at that point. Alright, so that's it for the Mei Fan category.